better known as DarkViperAU, is a GTA 5 speedrunner and content creator with a significant following. He began speedrunning in 2015, where he managed to achieve a time in GTA 5 Classic Any Percent of 8 hours, 47 minutes, and 41 seconds. In the midst of speedrunning, he had graduated from the Swinburne University of Technology, achieving a Bachelor of Social Science, or as many colleges recognize the subject as psychology.
Now, I think it's a rather interesting decision of the British runner to pin this tweet by DarkViperAU, especially given Dark Viper's education in psychology, a BA. Not a small feat. How does he use that particular degree? Since Dark Viper wants to sort of poison the well here, maybe with some of his psychology knowledge, or maybe just generally with the sort of rhetoric he learned online. For example, in his debate with Destiny, where he talks about people can self delude themselves all the time, something I agree with. Absolutely.
Or rather, I guess I've deluded myself into thinking that some of my underlying arguments are different than other people's.
Well, of course, it's not necessarily the case that you are deluded, but we each have the capacity for self-delusion. I would argue maybe that we're all somewhat self-deluded, right? It'd be very...
Yeah, but we're using weasel words now, because the gist of the video was that I'm probably more deluded than most if I'm claiming something that's far outside the norm, right?
Well, no,
2017, Dark Viper had managed to cut his time down to 6 hours, 39 minutes, and 12 seconds, achieving a new world record for Classic Any Percent, which garnered him respect from his peers and followers, even after other runners such as Torix LV and Burhank had beaten his records. He always managed to improve the record, leading into 2018, where he would achieve a time of 6 hours and 28 minutes, with that being the furthest he could push the world record. The success from speedrunning had granted him respect from other speedrun-related channels. However, in 2018, Dark Viper would make himself known to another YouTuber who had given out their disdain towards a charity event that didn't want to be associated with our White Goose, who had been outed as a white supremacist, with a lot of screenshots to back up the allegation. At the end of 2018, another user known as Rydog had chimed into a discussion being made on the GTA speedrunning Discord, with Friendly Baron telling him that the topic doesn't...
Okay, let's get into it. I'm sick of this. Let me clear some things up and go over some of the history that the good British runner put out there. Why even have a separate leaderboard for a topic this? No one understands how dumb it is to have blah, 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 GTA 70 frames, blah, blah, blah. Friendly Baron, you have no records, dude. You don't run the game. This doesn't concern you. He would have times on the LB if Viper didn't reject them for personal reasons. Couldn't it be nice if one of the other 3 mods approved them or take it up with the speedrun.com admins? And I have to remark here, the sort of conflicts that someone on the leaderboard is sort of in control of the leaderboard. I have some problem with the ethical concerns of that, but maybe there's some context I don't know. No one else willing to moderate and sort of run these sort of leaderboards, except for the people who pretty much take it up certain places here and there.
Doesn't concern him, as he isn't a runner, when Rudog had done a speedrun in the past, but when attempting to put his run back on the leaderboard, Dark Viper had rejected it. Now, if you don't know, when a moderator rejects a run, they have to give a reason to the person who submitted the run, as there's a requirement in the process. The reason for the rejection was labeled issues. When this was brought up in the Discord, people began to speculate against Dark Viper as to what issues meant, as it's not a good enough explanation as to why the...
Yep. I would like to see, personally, some screenshots on that, but I'll take it on faith for now.
Run was to be rejected. DarkViper would initially give the explanation that with the changes to the run's FPS cap, it would make Rudog's run unbeatable. Which begs the question, if that was to be the case, then why not make a miscellaneous category for the specific FPS cap that Rudog's run applies to? It shows us Friendly Baron mentioning DarkViper and his disdain towards him. As previously mentioned,
Yep, just going over the highlights here of the video because it's quite interesting. And DarkViper, as I highlighted, had a very big comment on it that I don't know what to make of. I did a recording of it earlier. Don't think I'll go over it, but we'll see. Play it by ear. Nudge, nudge. Wink, wink.
DarkViper had been making himself a very unlikable character in the Discord and on the leaderboards, which results in people memeing on him, to which he does not like this.
Yep, pause it so I can read it. It doesn't matter how much evidence is presented in the opposition. Literally everything becomes so hyperbolic, factless meme that people laugh like morons about it. How many people accuse me of hiding strats? Well, do you hide strats? Well, if you stop having hissy fits over nothing, no one would be memeing. True, do not feed the trolls, okay? Golden rule of the internet. Now, bug me, Matthew. What a brilliant idea. Hey, man, wouldn't it be a cunt if it wasn't your fun? Okay, fair. He's literally talking to himself here. This is the kind of the reason I don't want to associate with you. And can you really blame me to even run this fucking game? So this is a Matthew, no context to it. Very dismissive of other people very easily, as it can be seen in this video. Still don't see how all this combusted like this. Whatever, I must be blind. You aren't, it's personal. I have to sit here and watch people with little knowledge of anything jump to wild conclusions about nothing. Ah, yes, perfect argument. You don't even know what the game is. I can't go that retarded. I would say get good or get knowledgeable in that case. Shit. But I'm a Dark Souls player.
First of all, the guy who's trying to scam me. First of all, I get almost 10 times the views on YouTube as this guy, and I'm not shit-talking him at all. I'm trying to make my own community. Thank you. I'm trying to make my own community, so it's actually him that is salty. Neither of us really have to be salty, though. Neither really is. We're just different people. However, he does cultivate a type of viewer that does spam and cause stuff like that quite often. In my YouTube comments, it's really tiring because I know you guys are really joking, but my YouTube comments are usually filled with really hateful people that really are, they follow him blind, not blindly, they just follow him directly. So that's why on my YouTube, on Twitch, I'm kind of trying to keep that way because it just reminds me of people on YouTube doing it. So yeah, I'm specifically trying to stop people from trash talking him. That is actually what I was saying. Yeah. Inform yourself.
This will come up relevant later if I want to bother going through the comments. We'll see or not.
And stop being a dickhead. Oops, I messed up there. Also, if someone's gonna be a dick, he's got 10 times the followers I do, but only twice the viewers. Suck my dick. It's not a competition.
Casual versus speedrunner videos from Baron's channel, that DarkViper fans had been going after him with little to no understanding of what they had even been talking about.
Montage time. Montage, baby. Should name drop DarkViperAU when talking about the water tower. He deserves it. I actually name drop blah 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 in this episode if you notice. I don't know.
No one shit talks about. Whenever anyone in the entire time that I've known him said something like, I got banned in Mount, I'm like, you probably fucking deserved it.
Demeaned him in arguing for save warping. This is
probably deserved it completely and utterly. Baron, you literally called your audience to brigade me, reload those who voted against save warping. And you want to talk about toxicity. What point am I missing? Be specific, use examples. I apologize and said I regret those actions already. And well, I don't believe you watch my VOD at the moment, blah, blah, blah. I said that I thought not a call to action, recant my statements, be a pussy, bend the knee, watch your stream today up until you reset. But I did not see any hate words against you or save warping. There is one point I keep repeating in many different ways. I will write it as a single sentence. Make an argument that justifies banning save warps doesn't apply. Requires we ban endless other things in the run that each you have adopted it without complaint or concern. My standard is, it always has been, what to a extent something can be said fundamentally reshapes the run. How is it even speed running? I'm aware of products, new categories. We clearly differ in this regards. I cannot say if I'm objectively correct in this standard. Cringe. You lack awareness on how your words are hurtful and demeaning to someone who is worrying. It is hard to pick out examples, especially since he does the horse gish gallop. I can't do the nay right now, but then again, a little dry on the lips. Sick. But rather entire attitude of superiority you seem to carry in here right now, which he carries on a lot, unless he's crying about it. But those might be taken out of context, to be fair, making us defend ourselves rather than be equals. I was bullied in high school heavily. The way you're acting, I assume, is a conclusion of
Where
that.
he twists the focus into him being such a good, outstanding member of the community.
But I've kept my fucking silence for months. But I keep getting sent these clips, man. He keeps being an asshole. And I'm sick of it.
You keep getting sent clips by your fans because they want to drum up this drama. Because I've seen this type of behavior before. They try to get you into drama. You should learn to ignore shit. People in my video said I'm trying to use autistic as an insult. I am not. Autism is an issue. Okay. And people need to learn to deal with people with this condition. How it's also a spectrum. Hell, I'm probably not on it. I'm the opposite, ADHD. I am a nightmare to those on the other end of the spectrum. At least that's my theory. Why I annoy them so much with some of my sort of more liberal takes out there. You know, very lacking in detail. I'll try to clarify some of those in this stream today.
I don't like the guy. I consider myself a truthful person. I like to be honest about my feelings. It perhaps it's all false sometimes. I don't like skirting around this issue. I don't like Baron. He seems to be a terrible person.
DarkViper goes out of his way to communicate that he thinks that he is a truthful person, which isn't exactly true, as taking things out of context to suit a new narrative isn't being truthful, but the audience at the time didn't know what was happening behind the scenes, and DarkViper capitalized off of that misunderstanding. The motivation for the video, in his own words, is, I don't like Baron, he seems to be a terrible person. May I remind you that Friendly Baron has only been guilty of ranting about DarkViper once, apologizing for it, making mentions of DarkViper in his streams, and being against his stance on save warping. In Viper's worldview, this means that you are a terrible person, rather the person who posted the clip, as the user who shared it was called the King Button, not DarkViperAU. All of this was intended to—
Oh, this must be jarring. So basically he sets this up. DarkViper tries to sort of get him with some sort of shot. You'll see.
portray himself as a victim of Friendly Baron, when in reality, Friendly Baron did nothing wrong here. A funny note to make here is when DarkViper says,
When I made my apology, what were people writing there? That I'm a fucking coward and I should apologize to Baron because he makes such better content than me. I get this too, but the difference between me and Baron is I don't rant at his viewers on stream. I don't rant at him on stream. I don't send him fucking emails.
which isn't true, given that he is now going on a rant, and he had sent a bunch of emails towards him in the past. The next
Well, I would need a fact check, but maybe post hoc rationale, but he did bring up the fact emails in the past. I'll just trust it. Maybe British Runner's wrong. Maybe he's right.
the tweets Baron had made on Twitter defending himself in an attempt to debunk them, but instead makes himself look even worse, showing how he lied in his original video.
Let's stop here and address all these things. This sentence is meant to imply that I kept the footage for malicious purposes, that I
Okay, does this imply? Because that implication sort of claim is always lame, in my personal opinion. 4 months ago, which he had kept downloaded that long only to release now. Yeah, I can see an implication in here. Okay. But how does DarkViper respond to this?
was planning this all along rather than it being what it was, an outburst of a man who's had enough. But of course, if you know anything about me, I don't delete anything. I don't keep anything organized. This is my desktop. This is my old desktop files. Here are all my hard drive. They're just chock full of random crap that I will never delete. I will just keep.
This is some serious hoarding behavior, okay? Maybe a digital hoarder, okay? He does bring up a point. He's a content creator. Fair enough there. But oh sheesh. Can't say I'm perfect, but I do delete shit, okay? Because I don't need to use something against most people. Unless I do. Fuck. Don't touch me.
buying hard drive. I will keep it all. I'm a content creator. Who knows when I'll need some of these things? Wants to imply that, he felt bad and just emailed me to apologize for the things that he said about me. But of course, Baron didn't email me. I emailed him. What? I don't send him fucking emails. But of course, Baron didn't email me. I emailed him.
See, he sent 3 emails to him until Baron responded in April 2019, when this video was made in August 2019. Also,
I would have liked a more definitive timeline, but that's just because I'm dumb. It's just not clearly obvious. I'll trust him for this. Dark Viper in his comment didn't push back on this particular claim. He did a lot of other crap, which sly little shit.
Love the fact that Viper himself says that he hates dishonesty in general.
If you know anything about me, I don't like being lied about, and I don't like dishonesty in general.
Throughout this video, Viper had tried so hard with mental gymnastics to condemn Friendly Baron and to declare his superiority over him, even bringing things up that are irrelevant to try and prove that Baron is an awful person, which is a consistent trend of his throughout his career. A need to be seen as always.
I don't know if Dark Viper sees himself as a better person. He definitely acts that way. He'll definitely come off that way, the super chatting sort of thing. But given his sort of wishy-washy nature, I'm wondering what sort of issues he has. He has a BA in psychology. I have an AA, but he should be able to recognize some of these traits as pragmatic. Maybe he talks about seeing his therapist. Okay, I do hope he sees someone for these particular issues. Sorry.
It's right, him. He continues to paint Friendly Baron to be a liar when highlighting a comment. And Viper cries about this, showing that he is involved with the community, but the truth here is that Baron had said the rest of the community, and Viper specialized in GTA 5 speedrunning, and did.
Yeah, in my reading of the comment, this particular issue came up. Don't remember if it was into relationship with Friendly Baron, but seems a little bit off. Maybe put the wrong way. The crow's woes.
Not partake in the rest of the series, aka the rest of the community. So Baron didn't lie, but could have addressed the comment a bit clearer had he.
Some people commented in the previous episode that I called Baron's viewers ignorant. That's not what I was saying. I was saying they were unknowing of his misdeeds, and Baron's only hope was to keep them unknowing of his misdeeds. Because he has no defense, he has to block everyone, delete all the comments in any way referencing this. It's his only hope that he has. I was even criticized by someone that I've known for a long time for besmirching Baron's reputation. This should have just been kept quiet. No viewer should have known about any of Baron's misdeeds. It's funny and kind of pathetic, but I actually tried to do that, if you recall. I made an apology. It was vague, in no reference to anything Baron might have done to set me off. I was like, look, guys, if you didn't see it, it's not a big problem. Just don't worry about it, man. This can all go away. They people called me a coward.
The best way to keep things private is to shout about it from the rooftops, apparently. He furthers this by bringing up his vague apology after making the rant public, then says, but the world is not just, and sometimes...
The real question is, did he name drop Friendly Baron? I'm getting the implication that he did, and was vague with the apology. Seems a little wishy-washy, double standards. I wouldn't say talking both sides of his mouth, but perhaps.
Bad people do succeed. And to that I say, that is the most truthful thing Dark Viper has ever said.
Oh yeah, it's time for me to talk with this particular thing here. Comment on my video. Maybe I'll go over the massive one later on. But clearly this is wrong. Watch parties. Yeah, it doesn't normally. Feels a little gaslighty, like you really don't comment on this. I don't believe it. But let's just say watch parties do not count as fair use. A quick Google search will verify this. Chud Logic watched the whole video in full on his stream. That 100% counts as a watch party, which does not fall under fair use. My argument, to be clear, is Dark Viper trying to redefine the term of watch party. Watch party. So no matter how many times he paused in his own input, like he didn't even listen to anything I said, YouTube incorrectly denied the claim from VA, as they said they're not the ones who as they are not the ones to decide what's fair use or not. They have limited authority on this, but it's going to come on. That's what the dispute system is for. So It is unusual for them to deny the claim, not based on the watch party is fair. He keeps on reiterating this because they don't decide that. Just the same old talking points. I cannot find a definition of watch party that says anything about watching the whole as something needed. The most legitimate definition I could find for watch party is from the Cambridge Dictionary, which reads occasion when people watch a broadcast event together, for example, of a sports game or the result of an election, often in a public place. Occasionally, when people in different places watch a television show, video, hell, it's the only one that applies, etc., at the same time and discuss it using the internet. Let's go with the music, which, I don't even know if this is going to get me copyright strike, but serves me right. Didn't check. Is it worth checking now? Hey, this is where I got Watch Party from. Very sketchy. Everything I said was some additional examples that don't seem to fit quite as well. But we're going to come back around to this after this brief little display with this funky music that might get me copyright strike. Let's hope not. Made this too long. Shouldn't actually. Okay. And of course, how to copyright a YouTube video. Now, this is not saying DarkViper use this process. You can use extra processes to sort of copyright something yourself, but I doubt that is the particular case here. Most people don't do it. They just rely on the automatically copyrights your content as you upload it. And since YouTube is an American company with its own terms and services that really you need to agree with, so you agree to this sort of dispute process in the beginning. Hence why I say limited discretion towards fair use, and some limited capacities are willing to defend some things if they go to court. Don't know any particular cases of that, but that's what I hear. However, copyright requires you to grant them a non-exclusive right, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's also pretty strict about copyright content. Yeah, let me just, the last point. Why? I took so long. If you're worried about your content being not recognized as your own, we recommend adding a copyright notice that we mentioned above to give yourself a standard layer protection. I wonder if DarkViper or if anyone fucking does that with their particular videos. Oh, back into this. Okay. Only the second definition could be applied to what Chud Logic was doing on his stream. And that is only if that's the only thing he was doing with the video. Just discuss it with the other people. Chud Logic could easily argue that he was critiquing the video with input from his chat or arguing with them if he's going there in a comedic way. In other words, he's an entertainer first, a critic second, and also a very good point that I definitely didn't miss. I sort of imply it with this next point, but depends on the sort of what the audience is there for. Are we going to get into it? Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, the entertainment wasn't coming from DarkViper's video, because it wasn't, but rather Chud's comedy and criticism. Think whatever you want about his style or criticism. That's what it is. Hate Leafy. It still doesn't really particularly matter in this particular case. Okay. And yes, the sort of Does this serve as a market substitute? Does it sort of do damage to the original video? I think a lot of the things, the only thing DarkViper's holding on to is just the length of the video, which was which at least from my knowledge, was clipped out from a longer stream, edited and put into its own format. So that 9 minutes and 45 seconds comes out of a much larger piece. So I don't know if that matters. Okay, don't care. So YouTube just it's also correct. Fair use isn't determined by YouTube, but by a court. YouTube's dispute system exists so people can't abuse the YouTube copyright system, or at least it should. There's a lot of problems there. Still, there are terms and service agreements that give uploaders copyright protection, but also has a system in place to judge if a video that uses other people's content can qualify for fair use. All users of YouTube agree to this process by sort of signing up for the TOS or some crap like that. If the person disagrees with YouTube's judgment on that decision, they can take that person to court. That is also part of the process. And as for where it is actually going to be held, I don't fucking know. I assume it's going to be held someplace in America, despite Chud being UK and DarkViper being in Australia. But I cannot confirm that shit. Maybe someone with better knowledge on that. But still, they still have limited authority because the people using YouTube give them that first layer, agree to that first process. DarkViper's sort of insinuation of that. Yeah, I might have speculated because it was funny. Like, did he really use that in his sort of DMC thing, calling it a watch party without proving it's a watch party? I don't know. Don't know, don't care. Have fun. Smooth jazz. For all the big fans out there. Oh, yeah. This was a little bit of a kick. I don't think this works. I just found this a little funny. What type of works are subject to copyright? Audiovisual works such as TV shows, movies, and here, DarkViper might apply for this. Online videos. Sound recordings, nope. Written works, I don't, maybe if he writes it, he does have a sort of thing linked, so maybe a lecture, maybe an article, probably not, but he's still got the online video visual works, doesn't sort of qualify for that. Video games, nope. Again, that's also a point of contention that he uses a lot of Creative Commons with his GTA comment, as a lot of people do, a little bit of give and take there. Dramatic works, maybe that DarkViper's trying to do this dramatic thing. It's possible. It's possible. But here's the interesting thing. Ideas, facts, and processes are not subject to copyright. According to copyright law, in order, blah, 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 must be creative and it must be fixed and a tangible medium. I think that comes down to a subjective point of view. If it's creative, his little rants. But, yep, tangible medium, that works. A little bit of doubt there. Okay, I'm going to slow this down so I can read all this fun stuff off. There's a really interesting case with someone who tried to sue a lot of YouTubers. Acerthorn a while ago that I thought might apply. I don't know, really. He had a live stream that people reacted to. That wasn't protected by copyright law because it was an accidental live stream. He tried to pull that shit off. And a lot of trying to determine where people get sued. See, I don't know about that because when he tried to sue these YouTubers, he also was dumb enough to try to sue YouTube as a company. So of course it's going to be central. So why the fuck did he not just go after some of these YouTubers without not including YouTube in it? Oh, dumbass. But anyone who knows about that knows about it. But this come out of the sort of collection of that, although fair use, affirmative defense to copyright liability. Fair use is not excused by the law, wholly authorized by the law. I think this is actually the case he's talking about, the Supreme Court, but this is the sort of California one. But that is radically different, but I'll be getting into that. Oh, something about Reddit. Not quite sure about that. Prima facie case. Boom. Oh, I have this in my playlist. I'll probably link it. I don't know. But it doesn't have very many views. Copyright statute lays out 4 non-exclusive factors for evaluating whether or not a use constitutes a non-infringing fair use. Courts are considered 1. Purpose and character of the use, including whether or not the use is of a commercial nature or non-profit educational purposes. I don't know how that applies there. Yeah, it may be educational in a retarded way, which judge thing. Same thing about DarkViper. Nature of the copyrighted work, amount and substance of the portion used. And booyah, this is the one DarkViper keeps jumping on the back of. The amount and substance, copyright work as a whole. Yay, the effect upon the potential market for the value of the copyrighted work, and that's where it fails. Lord, okay, sorry. All 4 factors are to be explored and results weighted together. So it's not just one of those factors that should be considered in this. And we're going to have to rewind a little bit because a little bit slow with the pause button there. Enjoy the nice smooth jazz. That might get this taken down if I'm not careful. All 4 factors are to be explored and results weighted together. United States District of Columbia. No, this is California, I believe. 1, the purpose and character. Begin with the purpose and character of the use. Additional, considering the purpose of whether or not example is for criticism or comment. That seems a little weird. Or news reporting. This factor asks whether or not news worth adds something to new further purpose to the different characters, altering the first with a new expression, meaning, or message. And that's definitely happened. So we got one that I believe Judd Falls accomplishes. Put another way, factor whether or not to what extent the new work is transformative. DarkViper dodged a lot of it, but I start where he actually addresses it when I get off of this fun stuff. Whoa, fair use, blah, blah, blah. Maybe not the best sort of thing to sort of go with. And am I reading the right thing too? Is the loneliest number next to 1. Second fair use factor, the nature of the copyrighted work. Recognizes that creative works are closer to the core of attended copyright protection. That informational and functional work. Jibbity jobbity. I'm not quite sure. Second fair use factor recognizes blah, blah, blah. Let's see, Dr. Seuss. As a result, fair use is more difficult to establish when the former works are copied. Blah, blah. In evaluating this factor, courts are considered whether the copied work was previously published. Okay, that does me no good. Sorry. I ain't gotta work with what I got. I'm not quite sure what it's gonna give me. At least there's some jamming music that might actually damn me. Give it a check. Dance along with it. And I'm sort of fucking up because I'm jamming too much. Third factor considers the amount and substance of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. This factor is not particularly helpful in the context of a photograph or drawing, which DarkViper sort of jumps off of, because I think he's using this particular case, but can't be sure. Yeah, it really doesn't apply to Chud. He definitely has a transformative value. The value you derive from it will differ depending on who you are. No matter how retarded or smart you might find him, how insightful or how voracious. And there is an argument for Chud's particular type of content. He has to watch it at a whole because he might miss something. He might misrepresent something. I don't know. That is off the internet now. There might be little nitpicks where you can say, yeah, he could have cut out this few seconds or this part here. I don't know. There's probably definitely something DK, his editor, could do a little bit to make it a little bit more transformative in nature. At least that's my thought process. He's on this particular matter here. And oh, yeah. Sorry, got off. The fourth and final factor asks what effect it has upon the potential market value for the copyrighted work. Analysis of this factor requires the court to blah, blah, blah. Market harm alleged absolutely result in substance adverse impact on potential market. I don't see how much this actually will affect him. Maybe that's why I say, oh, our lawyer says that you can sue him. How can you sue him? He's just calling you a retard over and over again. It's going to hurt him with some people, and some people won't care. So, what up with that? Check. Well, I'm fully going over this stuff, and this is sort of a little lame. It's
The original content.
Tom used
and I'm a little lame by popping that out there.
Commentary from Chud, where he transforms the original content.
Tom uses the word transformation as seemingly a synonym of addition, but it's not legally or how the word is generally used. To use a silly example, here's the turtle from Super Auto Pets. Now I'm gonna
a silly example, okay? How does this apply to actually the example Tom is referring to? Come on. Did I not go with a stronger argument to start? Yeah, oh, sorry. I sort of looped him up here. This is the really weak one I started with. Sorry, guys. Sorry, really weak to start with. The next one, he puts a little bit more effort in. Or maybe I cut it out.
add a hat to it. It's still a turtle. The turtle hasn't been transformed. It's exactly as it was before. There's just a hat on it now. In the reaction, my
Yes, he needs mutagen to become a teenage mutant ninja turtles. Is that transformative? We need mutagens for everyone, especially DarkViper. I would want it too. So, yeah, mutagens for everyone who wants it.
content is still there, unchanged, in full. It's like if you compared watching a movie by yourself or with a friend. Comparatively, absolutely, your friend can add something to that experience. You might enjoy yourself more. Your experience would be different, but the content of the movie would not change even slightly. It would never be transformed, regardless of how many times.
Yeah, but depends on what Chud's audience is there for. Your content or Chud reacting to your content. I would say it's the former over the latter, but you don't care. It's all about the system, which hell, I don't know why anyone is freaking fighting me on this so much that that's the title. DarkViperAU, critical, YouTube, theorist. There's other elements with this. The attack, and with no particular prescription for how to fix this madness. He can only sort of go with the yeah, it's bad. I want it all gone. Okay, yeah, personal opinion. Maybe people are confusing you. Yeah, I said in my video, there's a particular comment. I'm saying a lot of people get confused with what DarkViper's saying because he's jumping on to respond to these people responding to him. It comes across rather weirdly overall.
You pause the movie to shit talk it. What Tom is expressing here is a general principle not meant to be specific to this case. So we could take the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yes, it definitely works to this case. Criticism, commentary, which tends to be shit talking, okay? With some criticism. Comedy, you don't have to like it, but it still works. Parody, The killer, obviously, versus Sargon. That sort of throws me off with that. That was actually that was tried in New York. I don't know the details of that. Don't really care, but still in the US, even though Sargon is in the UK. So, sheesh.
For example, which required thousands of people over many years and $500 million to make. To remain consistent, Tom would sincerely have to believe that I could reproduce that movie in full as long as I paused it every once in a while and gave my thoughts. I honestly find it hard to believe that he could sincerely believe that. While it is somewhat unimportant.
Like, this is a insane comparison, okay? A maddening, insane comparison. His rant, right? People aren't getting the context of this. You're sort of moving the goalpost here, I think. You're trying to compare your little rant that you clipped out of a stream and put up as a section video to fucking Lord of the Rings. Okay. You're just diluting all the freaking context and doubting. And your followers keep on repeating this. Like, dude, your rant is not Lord of the Rings. It's barely freaking rant video, okay?
Important to either my or Tom's views. An interesting thing to note is that for the first time in 30 years, a fair use case actually made it to the American Supreme Court in 2022. To very briefly cover the case, the issue is whether this photograph being altered to look like this resulted in a new artwork with a different character and purpose, thereby constituting fair use, or whether it remains substantially similar to the original work, merely serving as a derivative work that infringed on copyrights. The district court judge said this was fair use, but when it was appealed, the Second Circuit judge came and said no, this was not fair use. It then went to the Supreme Court, where 2 of the justices said it was fair use, while 7 of them said it was not fair use. So you could say in their totality, 3 of the 11 judges called it fair use, while 8 of the 11 said it wasn't.
Sure,
People seem to wrongly have this idea that if you just add something to someone else's work, then it is immediately fair use. I am sorry, but that just is not the case.
Yeah. That's where the criticism comes in. What you're stripping out of this particular thing. You're moving the goalpost. You're trying to compare apples to oranges. How can you not see this? How you can't see that this is coming across as very dishonest? Oh, yeah. This again. Didn't read this video is inaccurate to a staggering degree.
Well,
even
listen
in
to this
regards
for a bit.
to basic facts related to the events and those involved in them. So much so, a full refutation in the comments is impossible. Speculation on why this ended up being the case would be impolite to the creator. Bull. I got recommended this video, so I sat down with the expectation that I would do one of my essay, long comments explaining the flaws in your video. Why did he start off? Probably just the title. Professional victim. This is just a pro victim edit, because that's what a lot of this is about. Fortunately, as awkward as this is, I don't think I can. Almost none of this video is correct. This comment is already going to be staggeringly long, and I'm going to touch on only parts of it. This video is free that I can correct things. Obfuscation, obviously, to a point where I would say this is definitely poisoning the well. And frankly, I think this is being impolite to the creator, contradicting what he said in his too long didn't read statement. I would just be explaining the actual events you're trying to cover. At times, you express a sincere misunderstanding of some material. Which material? What is an example of that? A misunderstanding of the actual information or not? We're about to see, which is understandable as you're not a runner of the game, and at other times, the material you are referencing is not available to you. Other points, however, you must knowingly be lying or severely emotionally compromised. Fit in for someone with a psychological degree and someone who often uses his own mental state to excuse his actions. You're presenting as gotcha things I said in the very video you are showing on the screen, but are poorly. Maybe Chris the Narc's going to be covering this tomorrow, so have a whole bunch of fun with that. Have a merry
Notice he's
sort of
not
actually given any examples. Christmas. We can run the
This
gambit from
particular
simple
thing.
things like saying a video is deleted when it's accessible
Yep.
via a playlist. Okay, the autism of this is quite nice. You can go down and read it or request a copy of this from me where I retardedly try to speak it in a particular way, but I'm not the best speaker and shit. As I mentioned, I'm a little sick now, so what am I gonna do about that? Look at those shoes. Okay, let's actually just go to the video, see some of the autist who's definitely definitely sort of gave me particular thoughts Okay, sorry, I got a message. It threw me off my game. So let's get into this fun stuff. Okay, let's search highlight. Okay, call him out. Try to see people argue with me. This person is particularly interesting. So let me start with him. Bushy-wacky, these sort of guys. Furthermore, so clearly you don't know what an echo chamber is. Yeah, a little ballsy. That's the date. I am sick, but I am sticking to it. You want to engage in the marketplace of ideas or stay in your echo chambers. So I don't want to see comments on this. You had your chance. Maybe I can clarify some things via the comments for anyone. Let's see. Furthermore, so come on, explain. Yeah, his comment. He's like, yeah, I can come on. Then he edited it. Let's see where it is. Okay, here. I would love to talk to you. And this is gone because he edited it to be rather get caught by the filter. Oh, someone deleted my comment. No. I assume you say something again. Maybe it's the same comment to get your comment filtered out. Don't blame me if you don't know how to avoid YouTube filter, you toxic fanboy. Okay, so let's see what toxic fanboy here has to say. Further, you love saying talking out both sides of your mouth because I legitimately see it. Do you even know what that means? Yeah, it's the Mott and Bailey sort of routine in this particular way. Around this, you say he's doing this because his stance isn't on legality but morality. He turns around, did something immoral, and he turns around and did something immoral. I don't know if I said that precisely. I'm saying some people are going to perceive what he did with the clip. What did he do? Basically, he took Chud logic out of content. Out of context? Okay. He struck it. No one can get that context. Then he all suddenly started to blah, 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 calling it a watch party. Can you explain how you think opinion related to class theory? Yeah, I'll wait a little bit on that one. Also defining watch party. Already covered that. Already saw this. Here's the big boy comment. Did it get deleted? Oh, sheesh. Yeah, I think this is big boy comment. Okay, people are understanding this. He mixes his arguments with the rhetoric that's already out there. Yes, he tries to insert himself into other people talking about React content, and people are getting confused. Okay, this Dark Viper has an entire series that spans back that helps define rhetoric on React content, which seems to be, besides his sort of dead hard thing against Osmond Gold, which no one noticed. Dark Viper's talking outside, being moral, legally wrong to watch someone video. Entire series, again, he keeps on referring to it, made regards to opinions. What does he say in it? What does he say about morality and ethics? I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. It was against DMCA law to stream the video. That is not established because the moral implication that Dark Viper took the video down, there is not. Both are true. No, that's not for a fan or Dark Viper to really determine. Okay, feels like right too because he objects to the video morality of the situation. You elaborate. Dark Viper took the video based on moral objective to someone reacting, blah, blah, blah. The reason for his, why am I doing this to myself? Okay, if you've clicked the summary of created 12-page document reacting to the video, I thought it was 14 pages. This is why everyone should be motivated. What? If I've clicked the correct summary? Okay, let's see. My goal was to point out the negative market impact that people who watch and re-upload the people's videos cause that seemingly few are aware of. I was not criticizing people who make something truly their own by using a portion or another person's work. That's sort of dodging the bullet there. I don't know how it applies to this particular situation. I was talking about the particular ethics of this. I wanted to know about his ethics. He argues React content off. Let's make sure I said this right, okay? For understanding him, let's try to understand his argument. First step in trying to figure that out is trying to figure out why Viper here considers React content immoral.
The general shit show between Jay and Hassan added.
Yeah. First step, why is it immoral? Okay. The morality I do not get unless it's coming from the next point. No reason to play that. Okay. There's so much wrong. First, you are certain Dark Viper opinion, completely unrelated. Combating the argument people are saying, engage with Grows' channel, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about what other people are saying. What am I saying about this? I'm going to assume this was an unnecessary throw into the video. Dark Viper stance, Karl Marx's class theory and class reductionism, which makes people wouldn't understand the terms. I thought okay. For anyone who doesn't know, crash course on this crap here. Let's go to someone, see if it fits. Let me actually first bring this particular thing up that no one can see. Okay, because I did a word count on a lot of his videos. Okay, first video. 2 times he mentioned exploited, 3 times abused, 3 times system, talking about a system or ecosystem of YouTube. Ethics 0, morals 0, and I threw in the the delusion at the end because sometimes people aren't lying. As I said, I agree with him. Some people delude themselves and they're not liars. Next one, reactors are professional parasites featuring Asmongold and XQC. Exploited 16, abused 4, system 24, ethics 4, moral 3, delusion 0. I think both those guys definitely fit more into diluted than trying to do this. And the real big one that I used, which is a little bit funny given the amount of times the system was brought up, exploited 3, abuse none, system 16, ethics 1, morals 0, delusions 0. And here's the 2 more. How people lie to defend reactor content. Gabby Belt. Most people don't understand. Exploited 2, abused 0, systems 10, 3 ethics, morals, delusions 1 time. And finally, how socialists made capitalism work. Hassan Piker's React Empire. Exploited 8, abused 0, systems 9, ethics 1. I think he had a section on that where he doesn't actually say it. This really tells no one anything about this particular thing. He also has something, is it possible for React content to be ethical? And it sort of praise Lionel Tech. And let me not even get into that rabbit hole. There's a Jack's film where it's just exploited some other stuff. But let's take a particular look down a particular rabbit hole and maybe come back to this particular thing. So, yeah, I should have been more clear with the Marxist theory. I was sort of dancing around it. Definitely more critical theory. And it's just such a weird adaptation of critical theory, which is sort of a response to the failure of Marxism, at least by the Frankfurt School, and what a lot of people consider woke nowadays. So, again, I won't say that this is a particular thing that says anything about Dark Viper's particular stance. I personally believe a lot of people, right, left, even in the center, use some sort of adaptation of this critical theory. It's you insert a particular identity group. And with freaking Dark Viper, his identity group's weird. Is it speedrunner, content creator, creative auteur of crap like that? I'm not quite sure how that gets involved in it. It's the weirdest case, but the amount of times he brings up about the system and that one quote from that other YouTuber sort of hit the nail on the head. It's not about the individuals. And it's why he can completely not care about any of the context that Chud gives his particular videos. But, and I'm being a little bit mean, but let me finish out this particular point. because I want to get it over with. It's not the strongest point, but it sort of factors into my particular sort of mindset here. So we got a little bit of short fat otaku, centrist extraordinaire, called by a commie by rightoids, called a fascist by leftists. Okay. Perfect centrist in theory. You can have issues with him. I have issues with Eden Paladin, with the monarchists, but I do not degrade their actual research, even if I think her personal politics is completely off the wall. And so let's apply all this to it. Let's start with exploited in this particular thing, not cherry pick. Just go with the same sort of things that would be in here. Okay, let's actually not go with that. Okay, that starts at the, I think it's at the 4-minute marker. Okay. Yeah. Then we will do the system. Down with the system, baby. Other thing, there's 9 uses of exploited. Okay. And that took me to a weird place. System is not used as much, which I find a little bit interesting because you can look up what critical theory says. There's alternative to high priority on maintenance of existing institutional structures for the sake of order, basically the social system. For critical theorists, social systems in all type should be evaluated in terms that how they affect individuals' well-being, as opposed to how they maintain their particular structures or survival. In any case, the survival of a particular structure in a society should never be seen as equivalent to the survival or well-being of the individual member of the society's population. That is interesting. They're definitely couching. Overall goal of critical theory is to raise our consciousness of how existing structures and systems tend to subordinate and repress large segments, large groups of the population, molding and shaping people consciously and regulating their behavior for the sake of their own maintenance. So, delusion. And for critical theorists, the overriding priority should be the welfare of people under the system and the development of their full potential as a human being. It is a weird application in here, but let's hear someone much smarter and just not me rattling off a whole bunch of stupid stuff. Down with the system, man. Okay, let's start with the system, man, dude. Okay, and I had a comment somewhere down here, and let's fit this right here and here.
When I'm saying socialism here, let's start with the basic definition. Socialism is an economic and political philosophy encompassing diverse economic and social systems characterized by social ownership of the means of production, as opposed to private ownership. It describes the economic, political, and social theories and movements associated with the implementation of such systems. I'm going to go on a long commie diatribe here, so I want you to know right now, I personally don't support this stuff. I am describing to you the ideas of the communists.
Okay, good for you. He's getting labeled as a commie, Karl Marx, and all that fun stuff. So, down with the system, baby, and exploit it. I think that's the next one that's gonna pop up here. So, I'm a dumbass who did not click in it real quick. So, yeah, you saw the sort of within the system. I'm down with the system, baby. And I'm not saying it's totally delegitimate, but Marxists and critical theorists has sort of a theory of all on that particular matter, which I think is not healthy, especially for people who get myopic victimhood status, like someone like DarkViper. That's just how I see it. If I'm wrong, if everyone's wrong about him not playing the victim, like they say, maybe my theories fall apart, but he definitely does not. He attacks instead of actually sort of trying to engage with their ideas and try to see a good faith reading, should I say. It's more important to destroy anyone who's advocating for reactors, because reaction content is just toxic and exploitative, blah, blah, blah. That seems to be his main argument, and it seems to have either Marxist or critical theory. Both are sort of intertwined with each other, but again, you can make your own opinion on that.
At once, the other must necessarily lose just as much. Marxists believe that these inherently opposing interests cannot be aligned or coordinated. It doesn't matter if an individual bourgeois member is a good person, or if he's willing to give back some of the surplus value in order to placate his workers.
So anyone who's rich at the top who creates React content cannot give back, according to a socialist or critical theorist. Okay, they're just inherently unethical, no matter what they do. And sort of the people who support it, who aren't the bourgeoisie of YouTube, are just propping up a lion, which seems to be the main framing of DarkViperAU, opposed to the thing he brought up with Destiny, that people self-delude themselves. And he doesn't even really, in my personal opinion, he doesn't engage honestly. He goes for got yous. There's a bit of projection you can see in what I did include in this sort of clip, because he goes for got yous and he's willing to drop certain arguments in certain places because he believes, I don't know what he believes. It's just like talking outside. That's why I use the term talking out both sides of your mouth. In the particular video where he goes after the smaller content creator who didn't talk about him at all, Nakrit, sort of using his own analytics to sort of lay out his argument for why React content is not inherently bad. Damn, that was quite a brutal breakdown of that. And he doesn't even refute. He just puts a lot of doubt on the numbers that Nakrit throws into that mix there.
His existence requires at least some exploitation, and the only way to not exploit is to not be bourgeois and provide labor to the enterprise. Any negotiation between these two classes is necessarily always temporary, as over time their class interests will reassert themselves, and the space gained by the negotiation will have been spent. Therefore, class conflict is inevitable. As capitalism advances, the bourgeois becomes richer, the proletariat becomes more desperate.
Yeah, I don't think this actually applies to DarkViper. He just thinks it's bad. A very simplistic view of this. And I don't even think necessarily is really something inherently he would think about. I don't know how he sort of got in it. I frankly just think critical theory is just spread. It's just very rampant among people. You've got an identity. You have something you want to protect. It's just the best tool that people are using. And I think it's crap no matter what sort of identity group you sort of align with. Intersectional, gamer, crap like that. Okay, so let's
imbalance in favor of the bourgeois, making the negotiation itself coercive and exploitative. It's for this reason that socialist morality isn't concerned with rules or deeds. It's concerned with outcomes, and only outcomes in favor of the war. The ethics of socialism?
See, this is the ethics. This is what I really wanted to highlight. Okay, ethics of socialism. Let's see, because I wanted to know, let's see if we can adapt this, see if it fits to DarkViper. What? This sort of thing here. The process of socialism, the belief that class conflict between the proletariat and bourgeoisie is inevitable due to inherent differences in relationships that mean the product. Their diverging classes' interests cannot be negotiated. Class warfare is the only outcome. I don't see really anything explicit from DarkViper to really indicate it. It's more about this ethics that seems to fit him rather well if you replace some of the words.
Irreconcilable, meaning that class war is inevitable. Negotiation can't solve the problem. It only serves to forestall it. And a smart person would use the temporary peace only as space to prepare for the next war. The ethics of socialism? That's referring to the moral superiority of the proletariat. The bourgeois are the exploiter class. They are the...
Exactly. This is definitely seems to be the ethical framework that DarkViper seems to go from. The moral superior of content creators who create their own content without leeching off of other people to sort of promote them or just entertain their audience. It doesn't matter the example, it seems like. This is why the Chud Logic thing, I think, is like a mask off moment. Because maybe Dark Viper just doesn't see it. He doesn't understand. He really has a distaste for the drama thing. So he has a block against realizing the value of someone like Chud, or maybe just get his fifi hurts real quick. You see that a lot. Okay. And I can understand it. He's had hard things. A lot of people meme on him and seems to not take it very well, given most of the videos were people memeing on him for the 14 pages meme thing. But that one dude brought up the great point. Just don't let it bother you. Don't do a response. Stop bringing it up. How long has he been bringing it up as a particular point? Maybe because people were memeing on him and he's like, yeah, blah, blah, blah.
The ones extracting the surplus value from the proletariat. They also wield disproportionate power over the proletariat. A worker must.
Yeah, this seems to be how the ethics of Dark Viper when it comes to React content, who doesn't take enough creative things. And also, I really hate how he sort of is very reductive to Jay's argument, just Paul's. No, this is not Jay's argument. That's almost no one's argument. It needs to be substance argument. But he is reductive. He's reductive as all hell. He's a mean one. DarkViperAU.
Must sell his wage to a boss in order to survive. Liberalism may have granted him the freedom to choose which boss, but he must nonetheless sell his labor or starve. But the boss, if any one worker decides not to work for him, it's no big deal. There's always another worker.
Oh, yeah. And inherently, the ethics of socialism is anti-liberal. This is why someone like DarkViperAU is perfectly fine just trying to redefine in something like Watch Party to sort of get this sort of case. And it seems really slimy to me, but you know what? I am a Grinch after all.
Worker that he can hire. Therefore, any negotiation between the proletariat and the bourgeois has an inherent power imbalance in favor of the bourgeois, making the negotiation itself coercive and exploitative. It's for this reason that socialist morality isn't concerned with rules or deeds. It's concerned with outcomes, and only outcomes in favor of the proletariat. Anything is permitted.
Or the content creators. See, all of this, the ethics applies perfectly to Dark Viper's worldview. And I'm not even saying he's a socialist or a commie or anything like that, but he does have this mindset instilled in him. Okay. Is it his own self-delusion? The path he thinks, because a lot of the shit is all power politics and applying that to sort of the YouTube atmosphere with a brutal iron fist. I saw something about China coming up, but that's besides the point. How does this apply to Dark Viper? He's talking about the exploitation of reactors, of people, even people who might necessarily make content to be reacted to. The people who make videos that they want reactors to react to are just part of the problem, okay? You're just upholding the status quo.
As long as the
I know you
proletariat
don't
serve
like
to benefit,
that
because
all
they are
stuff.
the oppressed underclass. This is why you might see a leftoid online analyze a situation by asking who's being exploited or who has the power when talking about morality. Because contrary to the liberal idea of a universal moral principle, for the socialist, the exact same action can be good or evil depending on the class of the target. Put simply, this is the doing bad things to bad people is good argument. So if wokeism is the ethics and
And let's not put him in the woke category. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. Let me not seed that pond too badly there. Okay, I'm definitely not trying to say anything explicit about him as one person. And again, the sort of autism claim, it just comes from Dark Viper's inability to see the gray area, okay? So social deficiency. When you don't have the ability to distinguish about that gray area, everyone's lying. But shit, he talked to Destiny about people being self-deluded in the very beginning of the stream, and just sort of throws me for a freaking loop here. And yeah, I need to go back because I obviously cut it out or skipped over it. I don't know how it really turned out. I'm not going to be too hard on Dark Viper here for the clickbait. The how YouTubers copyright blunder sparked a hate campaign is clickbait. Okay, I'm fine with that. Little hyperbolic. I am perfectly fine with that. But I did not I did not have the inclusion of his one clip that I thought I had in my original edit. So here we go.
Fair
Dark
use. I mean,
Viper.
what Irrational Chat or Chud Logic here did was fair use. I mean, the original video by DarkViperAU was like 9 minutes long, okay? Irrational Chat / Chud Logic or whatever takes that video and then spins it into a 35-minute video responding to it, which is 4 times as long as the original video. It's a critique / commentary video, which is expressly protected in every definition of fair use. I mean, anyone with a fucking brain can tell that this is a pretty clear case of fair use based on what we're seeing here.
I will never understand people who have never in their entire lives taken even a peek at the guidelines of fair use or read any of the relevant cases who seem very confident what is or is not defended by fair use. Merely adding to the length of the video does not constitute fair use. Let me just be lazy for once. Let's talk about fair use in regards to commentary and criticism as explained by Stanford. Commentary and criticism.
Okay, here we go. Mario meme insert here. Woohoo! Okay, so he's going to address this. I think he dodged this before, so could be wrong. His response to the same point by Tom, weak.
Criticism. If you are commenting upon or critiquing a copyrighted work, for instance, writing a book review, fair use principles allow you to reproduce some of the work to achieve your purposes. Some examples of commentary and criticism include quoting a few lines from a Bob Dylan song in a music review, summarizing and quoting from a medical article on prostate cancer in a news report, copying a few paragraphs from a news article for use by a teacher or student in a lesson, or copying a portion of Sports Illustrated magazine articles for use in a related court case. Now compare this to sitting on your ass, watching an entire creative work that you are completely ignorant of when you start, pausing it occasionally, and then re-uploading the entirety of that creative work to your YouTube channel. This is not the kind of commentary that they had in mind when they wrote these rules because it didn't even exist back then. When
Yeah, it didn't exist back then. And with the autistic people out there going through these videos, sometimes you need to address every last point. You need to hear the nuance, or you get claimed, he took me out of context. Even without that, you say the people like this just say, oh, too stupid to understand the arguments I put out there. Crap like that seems to be the way to go when someone reacts entirely. Add it done to me, okay? You just sort of poison the well. When someone actually has a legitimate, good argument, you put the doubts in there, and you don't really give anything back to that particular thing. But yeah, that is his strongest thing. Does he got anything else?
Reference, they're talking about like showing a scene of Lord of the Rings to establish the sort of scenery used, not re-uploading the entire movie while you watch it with your mates and shit talk it. Like seriously, just pick one. Read the guidelines, the H3H3 case, Jessica Vogel's commentary on fair use, the recent Supreme Court fair use case. Hell, just chill and watch a Legal Eagle video. You would have to be actively dodging information about fair use.
No, I'm not. I looked at information. The only thing you have on your freaking side is this autistic focus on how much of the content that they actually include within the video. They don't edit it out. Okay. I say it's probably smarter to edit some things out, but sometimes you need all the context for the particular type of videos that Chud Logic does for his sort of thing. And are they there to sort of with a small mind Viper, okay? You cannot understand the commentary, the criticism here, because his type of criticism is rather just like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Very black and white view, in my personal opinion, on this particular crap here. But what else do I have to say on this? There is this particular thing here. Okay, we got a little bit of this Jax. I got a little bit of this Mardi Gras stuff.
Review. But if they're watching your review,
which
album alone.
Oh yeah, the Tom stuff a little bit further. Maybe I'm reiterating. Fine.
It's extremely easy to find that on YouTube for free in the same way that they would see that review. But if they're watching your review, it's my belief that they must want your commentary, not just the commentary of the original piece. They want to see you react to it.
Music will always be a bad example because a song can be listened to hundreds of times. You can still be listening to the same song decades later.
Yeah. Here is a very bad case. I don't know if this guy took him out of context. He's saying this is a bad example. Why don't you address his point? Maybe he does. I just really don't think he does.
To use a counter extreme example, imagine I spent the afternoon drawing dogs. Then I made myself a bot that automatically...
A counter extreme example. I legitimately think this is like Gish Gallopin. This word vomit, diarrhea, just throwing out useless information and not really engaging with other people's points. To be fair, a lot of people don't engage with Dark Viper's points, and maybe that sort of gives them some sort of justification. But they just don't understand your mind, man. Just Get over it. You got to be the bigger man, but fuck. I don't know what to say about this sheer and utter rigid nature of the people out there on the internet.
It downloads every single game on Steam and then adds my drawings of dogs to the loading screens and then re-uploads all those games back to Steam, but lists them at 50% off the cost of the original game. I am adding something, Tom. My dog drawings are right there. I would be very surprised if he was supportive of such a thing and didn't see it as exploitative.
This one isn't even in comparison, quite honestly. When someone gives a good reaction, they're putting out their thoughts on a video, and people tend to want to hear that person's thoughts, which is why they watch their reaction videos. Giving criticism, as DarkViper himself is doing, is not the same as putting a drawing of a dog in a game. Video game copyright law is a different beast entirely, so a better comparison would have been something like adding scenes to a film. You can't do that because of the legal precedent for protections around IP.
All right, fair enough. Watch this. Out of touch. He's getting sort of a bombarded by. Like, look at some of these comments here. Beautiful comments. Okay. Are you happy? I explain why. Yet you can't. Why you're wrong. Cry about it. Nope. I got the stream. If you don't want to listen to it, you cry about it, loser. Okay, I can tell the quality of this video, like to dislike, right, from the comment section. That's because brigading, definitely brigading. You missed this section. Here you go. 3, the amount of substance, the portion used, not relevant. Okay. Oh boy, there's still time to private delete this. Like, look at this shit. This ain't it, Chief. How is this anything? My own video has the same, most of the same fucking dumbass comments. The head on the turtle does not make full sense as well. You took copyright, turtle. Yeah, exactly. Maybe this is I don't know. Not going through it. 30 seconds in, you say, DarkViperAU rallied against reaction channels, claimed that they were against fair use. Explicitly say, blah, blah, blah. Bought and barely. Sense of sort of a socialistic decree there. Take it hard, take it up the ass, take it any way you want. And is there really anything else? Oh, yeah. My sort of a misinterpretation. I'll go back to my particular comments because I'm sure just by throwing out a clip really haphazardly, it's a really great example of how this particular matter comes, where they're moving the goalposts, at least in my particular opinion. And I do want to clarify something. They could be right. Okay. Like, ooh, they're saying the bug. They might be right. Look, pretty sure I watched this throughout, but then I went back to sort of clip some stuff out. So I'm not sure how that goes. It doesn't always work well. I don't know if I would call it a bug, but fair enough. DarkViper has to sort of miss the whole point because I didn't give it context. Fucking hell, let's see if anything else comes up within this particular thing here. So, video, anything I didn't around that. really engage with. I engaged with the most important thing, in my opinion. Am I missing anything? I'm going to go for these comments here. And do this. If DarkViper doesn't think that people are understanding him, let's try to understand his argument. First step in trying to figure that out is trying to figure out why Viper here considers React content immoral.
The general shit show between Jay and Hassan added more fuel to my desire to speak formally on the topic, in part because I consider Hassan's business model of content aggregation to conflict with his political stances and to be quite exploitative, as all React content is. Handles made me very angry, as I consider them both to involve abuses of power and to be representative of a worsening unjust system where those who already have success have more success made easier for them to achieve at every turn to the detriment of everyone else. I felt satisfied, and I still feel so even.
Yeah. I already went over that particular point there. Okay. Why I believe it sort of has, it wasn't to sort of freaking poison the well. Ugh. And assume that there's a negative connotation to the link to communism that would misconstrue his argument as a class dispute between the wealthy React stringers and poor DarkViper. Yeah, maybe. Okay. I think it's not as simple as that. It's trying to primarily copyright infringement, consent, ethical concerns related to reactor videos, despite not talking about ethics almost at all in almost any of his videos. Refers to the tedious reduced complex social issues to economic or class-related factors. He also does address the legal argument in the video, given the fact he's willing to go to court over it. Yeah, he asserts that watch parties are not fair use. See, they keep doing this. I'm saying that's a slip of the language he's doing while he's talking out of his ass. They do not protect. They're just totally just. You're correct. Okay, at least they acknowledge. Correct. The fact wouldn't respond to a lawyer makes me believe no matter what he put in the DMC request, it wouldn't have gotten through. That's your opinion, man. Given the fact the YouTuber is not the authority on fair use, already went over that they have some legitimacy. The people who are on YouTube gives them some control to make that particular decision. Violated his copyright work. You assert something changed in the context. He would have to. You assert this as something he would have to change the context of Chud's stream to win the class, the video as a watch party. Here, whether or not a specific reaction qualifies as fair use depends on various factors, such purpose of use, amount of material used, effects. I can't treat this anything other than somewhat gaslighting. I don't even think this is, as I said, I really like the idea. Sometimes people aren't stupid. Sometimes they're not dishonest. Sometimes they're just delusional. A, dumb. B, dishonest. C, delusional. And D, all of above. Okay, a simple term reacts to the video with no prior knowledge. Play the video in full. They keep on hinging back to that. And I think that's legitimately the best I got for this, okay? Can't really see what else I can really cover with this particular thing. Sorry, I keep forgetting about the Willie Mac. I baited him with I swear, I don't intentionally bait people. It just turns out that way sometimes. I just do something on a whim and bam, I get myself into some weird Twitter crap. I don't even know how that happens. It's just, I just must have one of those personalities to just piss people off. Given why I'm not very popular, trying to clarify my stances in these streams and have a little fun with opening statement, which I sort of gave it its
Willie
go.
Mac Show. So Willie Mac Show is a combination of channels seemingly can't even read or are entirely unwilling to actually just read documents. Willie, in his videos, showcased that he was willing to actually read court documents and stuff to get to the bottom of things. And I respected that. I would see him on Twitter arguing with people about, say, Andrew Tate and stuff. And especially at the time that he was making these videos, he was still at the height of his popularity. He was arguing with people who wasn't just taking down people who would be advantageous to him to take down. He was, striking out at all sides sort of thing. There was definitely things in his videos that I thought weren't particularly well argued, things I found disagreeable. But on the whole, his content represented that he was willing to go to some effort in making these videos. And there are obviously a lot of channels that make similar content to this that clearly aren't willing to go that kind of effort. So I've watched some of these videos in the past, and honestly, some that I probably shouldn't have watched. Like, I don't really care about Vosh. I don't really care about this. I don't think I end up watching this Kevin's video. Just YouTube fucks up sometimes. Regardless, I have seen some of his stuff.
I think I posted this clip here, and they're like, you don't know about the bug? I'm pretty sure I said, this is funny as shit. I think he's fucking lying. Might have been an out-of-pocket statement for me, but it's something I added on at the very end. And I might even gotten it wrong, saying, yeah, maybe DarkViper likes these people. It would definitely suits Bosch, Keffels. They seem to be more ethical. He could probably get away with this in his mind if he's actually on that particular side. It's just a weird thing to sort of bring up. And this sort of, why? This is an edited video. Everyone's like, oh, you don't know about the bug? I'm like, I haven't seen it before. It just seems weird to me. Okay, to bring up this particular point. Just completely obfuscating what I was legitimately trying to say. Oh, I could have clarified it, but maybe if I would have clarified it, I wouldn't have gotten such a bait response from X there. Okay, so yeah.
Similar content that clearly aren't willing to go that kind of effort. So I've watched some of these videos in the past, and honestly, some that I probably shouldn't have watched. Like, I don't really
like. I honestly, some I probably shouldn't have watched. Why? That's my question. Like, I don't really care about Bosch. I don't really care about this. I don't think I ended up watching this Keffels video. So he doesn't think he ended up watching the Keffels video, and he automatically blames it on YouTube because it sometimes fuck up. And like, oh, there's bugs. You're not getting it. Okay, bugs, fuck ups. I don't fucking give a damn. You're missing the fucking point. And hell, that seems to be his MO overall, no matter how minor, insignificant that the particular point is. But maybe it was a clip. Maybe I should have clipped it better, given it some context, but that was really funny. I don't think it's bad content. Like really weird crap.
This is really
here.
that important in the world, but I don't think he's doing a bad job of what he does. As a part of my video talking about me striking that video, I had to reference that me and Willie Mac had DM'd in the past. Because someone referenced that really apparently I was doing damage control about the whole thing in people's DMs, when obviously that wasn't true. I DM very few people for any reason. So it was very easy to know that this person was speaking about me DMing Willie Mac. I felt that kind of like a bit of a betrayal, that I can't just DM a person out of the blue and have a chat or something without it becoming like,
damn. Wow. Feels so betrayed by someone you really don't talk to. This definitely reminds me a bit of the Keffels thing with Ethan. Again, a Bosch with Anna Kasparian. Okay, I thought we were cool, okay? I don't really have a lot of friends. This is the same sort of thing. This is what furthers my belief that maybe not necessarily Dark Viper likes these people, but maybe his audience likes these people. It could go either way, or it could just be completely nothing at all. But it's really funny that he had to clarify, like videos I shouldn't have watched.
Like a discussion of some knitting circle or something. So I vaguely referenced in my video the DMs that we had, just to explain that this was all I was talking about. I want to highlight this tweet from Willie Mac Show.
Willie Mac Show responds to Tom by saying, I agree, especially coming from the fair use guy.
In my work, multiple times, I have specifically laid out that my criticism of reaction content has nothing to do with fair use. Willie here showcases how none of these people had any interest in watching even one of the videos I've made outlining my thoughts on this topic. Yet even despite being aware of their ignorance, they don't care. They still make claims like this one. I actually DM'd Willie Mac Show and said, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm clearly not the fair use guy. He shit you not.
See, the autism, he can't fucking... you can't just accept it. It's just misinformation to him. It's like, okay, I'm not understanding your argument. I haven't looked into it. Dark Viper, he's gonna look into it now. Are you happy? You happy?
Said, bro, if you're not the fair use guy, why are you in my DMs talking about fair use? Which I'm gonna talk about in a second. And then I saw Willie tweet us, what the fuck is Dark Viper on about, man?
I'll put the
and I was
link
like,
in.
I mean, I did
Fuck it. Fuck it. I'm at my ropes end. We'll close it out with it's not his argument. It's just really binary. Okay. Fuck it. Let's do it. Bring you on. We'll do this fun shit. See how it goes. I am sick, so let's see what problems people have. So yeah. Freaking hell. Stop being there for me. Oh, okay. Does that work? Okay. Invite. Why not? Click. Come on. Have fun with it. Just yell at me if you want to. I'm sending a link. Okay. Click on it. You'll be popping. Okay. You'll be popping in. Okay. Yeah, of course. Lucifer, man. That link. Come on. Tell me where I'm wrong. I'm not the perfect state of mind, but that can make things fun. Let's just talk about Dark Viper. Let's talk about Dark Viper, baby. Okay, we gotta introduce yourself, okay?
Hey, I do want to address this because I heard you saying it just now. I'm not the kind of person. I hope you feel better, man. If you don't want to talk, or if you don't want to have a debate, that's totally fine.
No, it'll be fun. It'll be fun, okay?
I don't suck Dark Viper's dick, right? Because like I said in one of my comments is I'm sure in the real world you're a great person, but when I turn my computer off and I go lay down next to my girlfriend for bed, my life moves on. You know what I mean? So I don't, and I'll admit, some of the shit that I said in my comment, little aggressive, fair
enough.
Little
I don't judge people.
And
Okay.
I do want to say I don't know what I said in that one comment that got YouTube to delete it. Like I didn't say any.
I didn't
profanity or
delete it. You
I
edited
I
it
know.
to say something, and
I
YouTube just filtered
yeah.
it, man. Okay.
I understand that you didn't delete it. Like what I was saying was I don't know what I said that made YouTube want to delete it. Right? Like that's what I had said.
Yeah,
I
YouTube is stupid. Okay, I will
and
agree with.
yeah, YouTube is. But so I mean the first things first, I do want to address what I brought up in that comment because I didn't really get a good response to it. And talking about the video you made because like I just hopped into stream because I was like, oh shit, yeah, that guy's streaming, and I didn't originally plan to come in here and talk to you, but well, here I am, right?
Yeah, I
so
love fun surprises. I love the chaos of
Yeah.
life, and I don't take things too seriously. I frankly just think Dark Viper takes a lot of things way too seriously. Okay, and he's not going to understand a lot of these commentators because they have a more chillax thing.
And to an extent, I would agree with you. I do think that he does take quite a few things seriously. But in that comment that got deleted, one of the things I pointed out was what I had said, kind of trying to say it word for word here, but from memory was, how would you feel if I took one of your videos and re-uploaded it in its entirety, only pausing occasionally? Because you had made this statement that in another comment that Dark Viper wishes for his stuff to, or hopes that his stuff would be seen at the same level of Lord of the Rings. When he made that analogy or that metaphor to Lord of the Rings, if he paused only
Yeah,
throughout
that's
it,
me being a little bit of a shit lord, but fair enough. Fair enough.
and accepting that you agree, that you're admitting that, like, fair enough. And I don't think that he wants the general community, the general population, to see his work as important to the Lord of the Rings. But something I said in that comment was like, and no offense to you, by no means no offense to you, but
Oh, call me all the slurs you want to. Oh,
No,
well,
no,
actually
no,
not.
no,
TOS,
that's
okay.
yeah, right.
I'm fine with blood
But
sports
that's
or civil debate. Okay.
yeah,
I'd rather
that's
have
not
a
where I'm
civil
going.
debate.
Yeah, but stating factually here, you don't make enough money off of YouTube for it to be your primary job, right? I'm assuming that you have another job outside of YouTube, right? Like you've got a
Oh, I
good
make absolutely
followership.
no money at all. Okay.
Exactly. So for somebody like yourself, if I were to take one of your videos and to re-upload it in almost its entirety, then you wouldn't really care either way because it's not really like your life marches on otherwise, right? Like
Yeah.
you carry on regardless. Whereas with somebody in Dark Viper's perspective, don't get me wrong, Dark Viper has a lot more money than I will ever see, right? like he makes a living doing one of the easiest jobs in the world. I won't deny that. And no matter what like Hassan Abi says of it's a socially emotionally draining job, I don't give a fuck about that shit. It is an easy job compared to what I do. I'm a farmhand, so I'm 7 days
Yeah.
a week. I'm up with the crack of dawn busting my ass, right? That kind of thing. For a
Yeah.
quarter of the money that these guys make.
Yeah.
But so when somebody is to wrap this back around, when somebody is to take what he has spent time making, whether they pause throughout or not, can we agree that if in my video I show the entirety of your video, that I have crossed some moral plane there that makes that wrong?
It really depends on the perspective because I'm probably too much of a. I do understand why Chud does what he does because sometimes you miss some things. I really think his editor should cut down some of the stuff. I would need to see the actual video, okay? But it definitely
fair.
It's calling it a watch party is just really what's annoying me, okay?
How so?
The audience, because the audience is there for Chud. They wouldn't watch Dark Viper's video if they were on their own, okay? They're there to watch him, either prod him, get his opinion on it. I mean, I can understand there are some things that are actually really more like watch parties, probably like EFAP or other things have more sort of elements like a watch party. I just don't think it falls into the category because there is an element of comedy and criticism to it. You don't have to like the comedy or criticism or even understand it, but it does transform it. And I can understand why someone like DarkViper would not see that distinction. And I absolutely understand why Hassan and all these sort of rich guys just with la-di-da-di-da attitude. But it just seems like it's crossing the line in my book. And it seems like a lot of people in commentary sees it as a low blow because he doesn't want to accept the fact that he tries to obfuscate, use really stupid comparisons or extreme examples like the turtle with a hat. It just probably just rubs people the wrong way when you use such what they would consider disingenuous comparisons.
Yeah, and I can see where you're coming from, but something, what you said there is that they're watching for the commentary, for the comedy, whether you like it or not. Is that not part of a watch party, right? Like, part of a watch party is to watch a certain piece of media with other individuals, and the analogy, the metaphor that DarkViper brings up a lot, and like I won't lie, as much as I don't suck this dude's dick, like when he's wrong on stuff, I'm like, hey man,
I'm not going to judge you if you suck dick, okay? I don't judge.
Fair enough, but I won't lie. I mean, I admit I like watching movies more when I'm with friends because we can pause it, be like, hey, like I'm a huge gun nut, right? So like when I'm watching an action movie and there's something wrong with guns, my girlfriend hates me for it. I point it out. I talk about it. Like I enjoy that. But even when there's commentary and comedy involved, it still is a watch party because it is a group of people coming together to watch a piece of content, right?
Yes, but you're there for the content, and just the sort of discussion around it is a bonus for the group. A lot of people go in for Chud. I probably a little bit hard to understand. They don't care what he's talking about. They don't care what sort of a video he's watching. Some people want the drama. Some people want the lolcow stuff. Some people want the rape reviews crap. Okay.
Real quick, but like I'm gonna let you keep going, but let's be civil about this. Like, there's no need to say this may be hard to understand. Like I'm trying to come to you. I'm not thinking that you're an idiot.
Okay.
I'm talking intellectual to intellectual here because the video you made, whether I agree with it or not, had a level of research that shows an intellectual capability.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Sometimes.
I get emotions, and I get that. My comments definitely.
There's also a performance element that I've probably fall into. This is why I have this sort of pattern. I'll do something, a stupid little video, and then I'll follow it up with a stream. Okay, if it seems a worthy topic. I've done this with EFAP before. I've done it with a bunch of topics, and I'm trying to improve my ability and try to get people to talk. That's sort of my focus.
I get you.
What I'm trying to do here. Okay. I want people to open their mind. And I really wish someone like DarkViper would genuinely drop this I'm right, and willing to discuss this with someone who disagrees with him. Okay. He seems to have a very resilience to that. And I understand he's definitely pissed off with the 14-page thing. Okay. I would piss me off also, but
well, and I think the other side of it is like if I did not, like, I was gonna head to bed if I did not think, oh, I wonder if Vincent is still streaming and hop in here, I wouldn't have talked to you either. Like, our conversations would have ended with the comment section, right? Because it would have been like I mentioned, like, life moves on, man. I got other stuff, right? But like, he tried to per his words, I'll say per his words, he tried to talk to XQC. XQC backed out, saying his fan base was put him in physical danger, which I think we can both agree that was kind of a
that's over the top. It's as toxic as I think big YouTubers like DarkViper. And trust me, even though I'm like, I make jabs, your audience is toxic. Look at my dislike ratio. Okay. I'm fine with that sort of a audience doing that. I'm rather casual with that, but you should admit to it that you're probably encouraging that in a sort of indirect way. And also, just to understand it, he should understand psychology better than me, but he doesn't seem to, or at least it doesn't come across within the content he does.
So do you think that a part of that may be, and again, like I said, I don't want to come in here with insults, but do you think that maybe part of that, because he has studied that in school, and trust me, I'm no fool that school may teach the wrong way, but depending on political influence or economic influence, that like there's censorship in schools and all that, and the changes the message, like all that aside, do you think that it may be some level of Dunning-Kruger effect where you perceive that he maybe doesn't understand human psychology as well, but he actually perceives it at a higher level in the way that you may be ignorant in because you haven't studied it? You know what I mean?
Well, I have actually studied it. I don't have a
Oh, have
BA,
you?
I have an AA, so I'm not quite as at his level, but I mean, when I saw him, I did my research. He had his sort of
Right.
pseudo debate with Destiny, talking about some interesting things. I find it weird. As I pointed out in my video, I want to know what sort of ethical framework he works with. Do you know what sort of ethics he works with?
Well, I think that, and so I'll tell you right now, I don't study psychology. I'm currently in college right now for criminalistics, and so part of that does have to do with a little bit of psychology, but something we talk about very deeply is ethics versus morality, and the most generally agreed upon description difference between the two is ethics is implied by society, morality is internal, right? I have a moral compass, but ethics are what society expects of right and wrong. You following? So I think what ethical grounds DarkViper stands on is a little bit different than saying, hey, what's his moral standing? Because ethical grounds, he doesn't really decide. That is a societal construct, and saying that word makes me sound like some fucking conspiracy theorist, but like all things.
No, it's just it's a, even if he's not, people were triggered. I was saying the Marxist sort of mindset for
that
him.
was something I commented on too.
Okay, it's not an insult. I'm not trying to call him a commie, but he's sort of I legitimately think that the framework, it's both a right and left thing. It's a tool that's used by everyone who's sort of going around. It's a very effective tool. Let me not get into the details. I went over it, why I think that has influenced him to at least a decent degree when it comes to content creation. But I'm fine with people disagreeing with me on that.
Yeah, and I actually, that's one of the things I want to talk about, is that you mentioned that he has a very classist view of things, right? And I felt like in your video you didn't elaborate enough on that, and how his view is classist, when it's more, or I'll say this, how I perceive his view, because I do listen to his rambles on this stuff, because it just makes good stuff to listen to when I'm driving to work, right? Like it's less class than anything, but going to the Chud logic thing is something he said is, I don't care if he pulled the cure for cancer out of his ass, it was my content in there, in the same way that me, who has like my YouTube channel, I used to post videos like just clips and shit, I have like 4 subscribers. If I were to post something and you were to take it and re-upload it, or vice versa, I would have the right, that is my product, right? Like I would have the right, regardless of class. I'm not a big YouTuber like Hassan Abi. I'm not a B-list YouTuber like DarkViper, like I don't
agree.
fall in
He
those
has the right
classes.
to sort of, I'm not saying he's necessarily a classist. It's a weird sort of, this is one of the weirdest sort of adaptions of it that I think I've come across. It's more about the creative mindset versus those who are lazy and getting rich. Okay, workers versus the rich bourgeoisie. It's a weird adaptation of it, but I think it does sort of stem from that. But what you were saying about, if I took a video of yours and just uploaded it with no commentary at all, you have absolutely the right to strike me, DMCA me, perfectly fine. You could even take me to court. But if I was to put commentary into it, like if I took you made like a 10-minute video, like dick sucking Dark Viper and something. This is just theoretical now, okay?
Right.
And I'm like, you guys, this is where your flaw is. You have a stupid head, and blah blah blah. You know, hypothetical commentary. You still would have the right, but there's also a sort of social faux pas that definitely Dark Viper does not seem to engage with very well. Sorry,
Yeah.
just
So like,
as I
go
said,
ahead, I
I'm
don't
not
know.
calling him an autist. I've dealt with someone. I actually had someone take a video and turn a 45-minute video of mine into what is it? 4-hour video
Oh my gosh,
a
that's like
while ago.
every frame's a pause type shit.
Yeah, this guy's been on the show. He got on being a victim. Okay, some other person, but that's besides the point. That
Yeah. So
video's down now.
I'll bring this up with you. Are you familiar with the pile of sand paradox? And if not, I'll explain.
Okay,
But
please do
if
explain. I think
yeah,
it's
so
not the
so
Bill and Ted. We're just
no
dusting
no
the wind. Okay,
so
I didn't think so.
if we walk out on the beach and I grab a handful of sand and I'm holding it in my palm, would you you would classify that as a mound of sand, right? A pile of sand, right? And I remove one grain and I ask you, would you classify this as a pile of sand? And I remove another grain, right? At what point is it no longer a pile of sand? And then you invert that, right? I start with one grain of sand and I add another. Is that a pile of sand? And I add, now I've got 3 grains. Is that a pile of sand? So now take that idea and extrapolate that to what you had said, where if you were to just take my video, re-upload it with not a single change to it, that is 1 grain of sand, right? You would not consider that a transformative content. You would not consider
No.
that new content. So at what point, what amount of pauses and content added, what amount of talking over the video? You see where I'm going? Right? At what point do you consider that fair use versus not fair use? And I think that, and especially this kind of gets into my field of study, in that when we talk about laws, there is no way to cover, like, the reason we have courts, the reason we have judges and Supreme Court, assuming you're in the US, the Supreme Court and all that, is because we can't write laws to cover every base, right? So could you say a statement to cover every base of content? You need to add X amount of minutes of content per Y amount of minutes used from somebody else's content. You know what I mean? Like, at what point do you consider it stealing? At what point do you consider it transformative? And there's no real answer to that, because, well, if it's a 1-hour video, or in your case, if it's a 45-minute video and I take it to 4 hours, I think the big point that Dark Viper tries to make is that it is market substitution. If I went and watched Chud,
It can't be market substitution. That would, if that is, that's stupid, because Chud's VOD, even his stream and the video, would not be a market substitution for his.
How so?
The only, you wouldn't watch it for the same purpose. Why would you watch a Dark Viper video just to make fun of it?
But I think the point that you may be missing out on here, if I'm understanding you correctly, is if I watch Chud Logic's video in factually stating, this is factual statement. If I watch Chud Logic's video, there is not 1 second, literally 1 second of Dark Viper's video that I would not have seen. Sure, it would have been broken up, but there is not a single bit of information that I would not have already seen. Therefore, I would not go and watch Dark Viper's video, because I had already seen every single second, literally every single second of it in Chud's video. How is that not a market substitution?
Well, it's not a market substitution because of the intent of the audience. You would have to go into, it's really impossible to tell. I'll give you that much credit. It's really impossible to tell. there might actually be some people who would see Chud's video and would want to see without Chud's commentary what Dark Viper, it can work both ways, because commentary can work both ways. Like, is Chud just being an asshole, really taking the piss out of him? It can really work. The sword cuts both ways in a particular case. And yeah, I just really don't think it would serve as a market substitute. But I can understand, since all the pieces are there, how you could make a case for that.
And that's the case that Dark Viper pushes, is that if you go and watch Chud's video, there is none of Dark Viper's video that you haven't seen. Even if you don't watch Dark Viper's videos first. Now, had Chud watched that video off of stream, like I know Moist Critical, Penguin Zero, Charlie, got in a huge argument with Dark Viper, and Charlie admitted, hey, I had made a mistake here. I shouldn't have done this, and defended the points that he still felt strongly about. And there was an agreement there. And there was a very large shift in Penguin Zero's content that anytime somebody says, hey, you should watch this, he writes it down, watches it off stream, so that he can then, again, something else that Dark Viper preaches, talks about a lot, is that watch it off stream so that you can talk about it with an informed opinion. Because when you watch something, if I were to record my opinion to your a Viper comes for the Chuds video, half the shit that I have had all day to think about and talk about with my girlfriend and kind of develop through wouldn't have happened, because I wouldn't have had the time to think on it. I wouldn't have had the time to research and stuff. And so by watching a video outright on stream for the first time, like Chud did, it is an uninformed opinion, because you don't. If I watch 5 minutes and I say something, there's no telling that the next 30 or so minutes or whatever, in your case 15, 16 minutes left, I don't know if you're going to address that later, right? And so
I definitely have the same criticism. I would have the same criticism for EVAP, and I have in certain circumstances, but just because I don't like the practice, there's also just the genuine first time encounter is sometimes a part of the experience, taking someone off guard. And yeah, maybe it doesn't need to be there the first time. And there is times when, if he has no commentary, if he starts watching something, he likes it or just really can't stand it, he'll turn it off. Okay. And if people tell him don't pause to give commentary, he'll give them pushback. Like, this is my freaking stream. Don't you freaking chatters tell me what it is. It's just a different, I think it's a different in philosophy. I think it is probably a bad mindset a lot of the Twitch people have instilled in them, and also probably a bad mentality that commentators have also, because they follow the same thing, but there is a purpose to it. The raw actions is what they're known for.
Yeah, and I don't think we'll disagree that we're both working men, right? I think hopefully I'm not assuming, we're both working men, and I do manual physical labor for a living, and that takes a toll on my body. If someone were to come in and somehow, obviously with physical labor, it's hard to draw an analogy, but if somebody were to, I work 9 hours a day to make $100 a day or whatever, right? And if somebody were to be able to take that product, take my work on that product, turn the same dollar for it for half the time, I would feel like I got cheated, especially if I still did that labor, right? And it's kind of why people, and as much as I disagree with it, that some people hate managerial positions. It's like, oh, you get paid more, but you don't do shit. I'm the one doing the hard work, shit like that. And it's like, well, they do have their own position, right? And so when you take that and put it into the content creation sphere, and something that I said in that comment that YouTube deleted was that you made a 21-minute video. We'll round up. We'll call it 22 because it's 21:38, right? So we'll call it a 22-minute video. That took you 5-6 hours in video editing and script writing and research, probably more than that, probably much more than that. But if in 25 minutes, right, I sit there and I watch and I pause a few times to talk about it, you would feel cheated because somebody could watch my video and they would have seen the entirety of your video that you put 6, 8, 10, 12 hours of work into. That is a labor of love item. And in that same, in a 16th
Okay, I
amount of
do
the
understand
time.
both you and Dark Vipers. I think it's rather black and white sort of thought, and not understanding the sort of social contract that a lot of YouTubers. Dark Viper's in a different community. Okay, fair enough. I really don't like how he's trying to redefine the watch party, because I really think that is a abuse of language. That's probably actually what ticked me off the most. And the sort of way, like with the Necrit video, that really annoyed me. Necrit was clearly trying to use React content to sort of promote his own brand, and I really didn't like that video. His Hassan video, most of his videos, fine. That Necrit video just pissed me the hell off. Okay.
So how do you think that, and not an attack, just wanting to understand, how do you think the Dark Viper is trying to change the definition of watch party? Like, can you give me just an outright, here's why I think what he's doing is wrong?
Yeah, you probably weren't around for that. I brought out the particular sort of example I had is a watch party. It's a group of people coming together. But I don't think we'll agree on this, because the intent of most people who watch people like Chud, both on stream and his VODs afterward, are there for Chud. They wouldn't have watched half the people they do if it wasn't for for Chud logic in this particular case. Okay, but it's just a different in perspective. It's about, and Dark Viper doesn't seem to accept this sort of a utility of someone. And I can understand with some people like XQC, Hassan, with all that shit. There's even a case for Asmongold in a lot of ways. He's a little bit better. Same thing with, it's like a spectrum to me. Okay, there's people trying to do better, trying to not totally be total leeches. And
so with that, you know, and I think that you and I would both agree that when Hassan puts on a YouTube video and goes to the bathroom or goes and gets food, that's fucking wrong. Like I think you and I can okay. So let's talking specifically about the Chud logic situation. What you said there is the majority of the people there are there for Chud. So then why, if true, which I mean probably is true, why does Chud need that video right there for a first reaction instead of waiting a day, wait till he ends stream, watches the video, and writes out a script and actually does some work to make sure that his opinion is informed, right? So, like, I mean,
care about informed opinion. It's just really weird. He goes with gut instinct, just off the cuff bullshit. This is what he's really known for. It gets him in trouble a lot. He'll go back and clarify his position sometimes. Okay. He has probably the most offensive editor out there, because a certain amount of controversy, like even with Dark Viper, his certain amount of controversy, probably, as much as he hates to admit, it's probably gotten him some viewers, some people who want to see him go after these reactors. And I can understand that.
Yeah, and so, you know, you're saying that, oh well, it's not a watch party because the people are there for Chud.
Yes,
it is still a watch party. Well, it is still a watch party though, because it is a group of people who are there watching another person's content, right? It doesn't matter the intent of the people there. That is the facts of what they are doing. It doesn't matter if total extreme example
I also
here,
see
right?
it as
it
ethical.
doesn't matter.
I also
hold
see
on.
it as
Let me
sort
finish.
of
Let me finish here, please. It doesn't. It's like total extreme example of this. If you win, or you know, just to make this in no way perceivable as an attack, if I went to a Nazi party rally, an Aryan Brotherhood rally, with the intent of laughing at them and shaming at them, to an extent, yes, my intent matters there, but on the other side of the coin, I still showed up. And if there's a fee to get in, I still paid them that fee, right? You know what I mean? It doesn't matter my intent of being there. I still was there. I still paid that fee, for example, right? And so when translating that now back into the content creation sphere, sure, maybe those people are there to listen to Chud's opinion, but if they're there to listen to Chud's opinion, then the video being there doesn't matter, right? And bigger than that, irregardless of their intent of being there, it is factually a group of people, and they are watching somebody else's content.
Yeah, but it's also the sort of content. I would agree with you if it was a creative piece of work and not a sort of argument, because there is a certain, why are you going to try to jump into this conversation about React content, but you almost don't engage everyone else who talks about React content. He really does sort of reduce their argument. And that's sort of their problem. I really do agree. People should try to understand his argument a little bit better. They'll probably think it's a little bit over the line. I agree with that. His argument is very black and white in nature. He does not want to sort of give any ground, and he will completely I think the term is straw man. He definitely comes across as straw man and like Jay thinking just by pausing it and commenting that transforms it.
Well,
I don't think that would be
I'm
Jay's
not sure
argument.
if straw man is the right term there. What do you?
Yeah.
What is
all
your
those logical
interpretation of that?
fallacies. It just seems like
I actually
missing the
have a
point.
poster behind me of a bunch of logical fallacies. It's
Okay. Yeah,
So-
they're always tricky to figure out.
they
I just
really
think
are. That's why I have a
if he-
poster.
I think Dark Viper, if he doesn't want people to sort of straw man, because I do agree, they meme on his argument because that whole consent thing he made how many years ago. But he's just doing the same thing in response when it comes to React content because they meme on him. Both sides need to I don't know, just like neither side seem to really try and engage with each other. And I'll admit the people that he does sort of rail on about, complain about, not understand his argument, I can understand that. And maybe you feel that my video was faulty in trying to understand where his ethics and logic came from and sort of my criticism of him, because I really think trying to get in the court case with someone like Chud Logic seems really cowardly to me. Has no one actually has no bigger streamer looked at one of his videos and sort of watched the whole thing?
Well,
I'm trying to figure that out.
I think the point of him mentioning going to court over it was, if you look back at Ethan Klein and H3H3, I mean, he went to court over a kind of tangentially similar case. And Dark Viper made it clear in his video, he doesn't want to go to court. He would lose money even if he won the case, and money isn't everything. I know that, but I think the point was so that there would be something that people could point to and say, hey, here is a court decision about watch parties. Right? Because the grounds that Dark Viper stands on now is all morality, because there isn't really a good, and again, this kind of gets into what I studied. There isn't a good court case talking about this kind of stuff. Content creation in the term of in the realm of legality in the U.S. legal code, and I understand Dark Viper is from Australia. I don't know where Chud is from. I don't know where you're from, but like, YouTube is a US-based company, and so for the most part, they follow US-based law. When there's not a court case, and it goes back to what I talked about as well, is that you can't, I don't believe in black and white, I couldn't, being a criminal justice major, because like I said, you can't write a law covering every single fringe case, right? Like, and so black and white definitely isn't the way to go about it. And then so I do disagree
that's
with
probably
Dark Viper there.
what irritates me, and how cocky he comes off as being stupid and calling people retarded. I understand a little bit of that super chat and things, super chatting it, try to.
But he's able to have that ground because he's not talking about legality. He's talking about morality. And like I said earlier, morality is an internal thing, whereas ethics is an external societal thing. And so when talking about morality, I mean, I'm sure in your life day to day, and in this call, you yourself have done it, and I myself have done it. It's something that we can't escape because morality is internal. We as an individual decide what we as an individual think is moral, right? I think certain things are immoral that other people don't see a problem with, and they see things as immoral that I don't see a problem with, right? And so that's kind of where he being Dark Viper here gets the idea that I can, for lack of better term, or actually, honestly, it's the spot on term, moral, like grandstand, right? Is I am right in my opinion because my opinion is based in my morals and I choose what my morals are, right? Like, I will agree that he does that, but I can't agree that I can't use that as a bad thing because every single person does that. What you decide is moral, you judge other people on, whether you like to admit it or not. Everybody does. My girlfriend studied psychology, and she got mad at me when I tried to argue this or against this.
Psychology is a soft science.
It really is. She stopped studying it for a reason. But
there's a reason I didn't get a BA in it. Trust me. Okay, I'm like, it's good in theory. But careers in it, nope, not for me.
Exactly. And so, the grandstanding there, and it was funny is if I will say this out of personal experience, but not off of studying it, the most common word to precede grandstanding is moral. Moral grandstanding is a term that is thrown around a lot. And so when you talk about how you find it hard to understand you find it hard to agree with Dark Viper when he says, "Oh, I'm right," so often it's like, well,
I also can't stand the sort of collective mindset that he seems to be edging towards now. The collective good negates any individual case study because I'm essentially a liberal. I think. And a lot of people have a problem. You're willing to let an innocent man, you're willing to let two guilty men go free if one innocent man can go free. It's that sort of the weighing of the scales. You would rather be honest with the truth and let bad things happen than sort of be dishonest for what you personally think is for the greater good. And I do understand he legitimately believes this is for the greater good. And I really wish someone could actually sit down and talk to him about it. But again, I'm not trying to use the term autistic as an insult. It's just how he comes across to me. And a lot of people are getting this way, okay? They don't seem to understand social nuance, like the Willie Mack thing. Him leaking that sort of DM, like, oh, I only leaked Willie Mack. I knew it was Willie Mack told Chud. Chud might have actually been lying about that. Okay, wouldn't that be funny about that?
I mean, and here's the thing: is I'm, you mentioned your political affiliation being more liberal leaning. I'm a libertarian. I believe in the.
It depends on which side of the libertarian spectrum you're on.
No, I would love to be left the fuck alone. I believe in small government. If you want to marry a dude, marry a dude. I don't fucking care. Leave everybody else alone, though, right? Like it's constitutional libertarian to be more exact. But I don't think that politics really plays a huge role in this because, like, I disagree that my thing is I am autistic. I am a high functioning autist. A lot of people don't realize this, but below a certain IQ,
and I
you're
have plenty
autistic.
of friends who are autistic.
Well, hold on, man.
And I have to tell them to shut up sometimes.
Let me finish.
I have to tell them to shut up sometimes. They go on.
I mean, like when you're talking, I let you talk. Just when I'm talking, let me talk. All right, like let's keep this civil. And so on the low end of the IQ band is autistic, but also on the high end of the IQ band is autistic. That's why we have the term high functioning autism. And so, and I'm not like the reason I brought up political officiation is I don't fucking care. I don't get triggered by words, but I think that when you, and before I joined this call, you, as much as you don't want to admit it, you did use autistic shit as an attack. Sorry, what?
Not getting anything.
What? What are you on about? What? Okay. Anyways, whatever the hell that was about.
I'm seeing something going on, but I'm not seeing hearing anything.
Can you not hear me? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Hey, Vincent, can you hear me? Well, your stream can hear me. I don't know.
Okay, if you're saying anything, man, I can't hear you. Sorry, but
that's really funny.
It was a good talk.
Yeah,
if you watch this in retrospect, or if you can hear me, but I can't hear you. Good talk. I should probably get to bed myself.
That's funny that your stream can hear me, but you can. I feel like you just didn't want to address my points.
Take care. Bye.